coronation of King George VI on May the 12th, 1937, was marked in Haslingden by a week of celebrations. On the final day there was a procession through the town. This picture was taken in the Marsden Square, where those taking part assembled. 1934 to 1938. Haslingden's professional was the West Indian George Headley, one of the greatest batsmen in the game's history. People travelled great distances to see him. Interest was shown when the opposing side was Nelson with Larry Constantine during the 1934 season. Some 21,102 spectators paid for admission at Bengate against 8,840, and membership almost doubled at 893. In the following year it rose to 1,108. When Haslingden played Nelson in 1934, there was a gate of 179,012 and threepence and a record crowd of more than 5,000 spectators. The club was well supported by many of the wealthier families in the town, who made the annual cricket ball the chief event of the social season. An account of the 1934 dance was held. Headley presents a bat to Leonard Pilkington in July 1934. This was taken at the council school, with Mr. Olstead, headmaster, and Mr. Pickup, the sportsmaster. The first 11 in 1937. Standing we see Harry Whittaker, Jack Cartwright, Tom Kay, Jim Bonner, George Headley, Jack Crankshaw, Jack Bridges, and seated is Bob Wade, Harold Olding, Tom Waller, and Jim Brealey. A campaign in the Second World War. Who will ever forget the great fellowship and comradeship of the Civil Defence Services? Wardens at their post under the leadership of Walter Hardman. The report centre with its 8 teams. And the noisy nights of the late 1940 and 41 and early 42. We had a few bombs, but if anybody in the whole of the country got the sirens, it was always us. The visits of the wardens during alerts always brought much chaff and humour, and on one occasion the controller, wearing his red tin hat, was told by a Haslingden lady to keep their mouth shut, or they'll be posting a letter in there. There was indeed a serious side, and we looked out from the council chamber over Manchester during its blitz, and saw the flames in the sky and heard the bombers on so many nights over Grain, and then going over to the Mersey. It could easily have been bombs on us. As war loomed, Haslingden prepared to defend itself. So on May the 17th, 1939, a simulated air attack tested the voluntary services. The account of the eventful night is by the town clerk and the APP officer, Mr. R. Bull, who is pictured above. Arrangements have been made for the testing of air raid warning sirens this Saturday afternoon, the 30th of April, between 2:30 p.m. and 4 p.m. The Home Guard with bayonet practice. The Auxiliary Fire Service were out practicing at Hazel Mill. There are Vincent Taylor and left Paddy Linsky. Haslingden prepares to defend itself from the German raiders. It was 1939, and we see the Lady ARP workers assembling gas mask containers in the public hall. The ARP wardens had set up 10 posts before the outbreak of war. Air raid shelters, both public and private, were built throughout the town in 1939. A company of local defence volunteers were formed at Haslingden in 1940. Its first weapons were walking sticks. The part-time soldiers became members of the Home Guard with headquarters at the drill hall. Some of the men are pictured at the start of a route march. Haslingden WVS members garnishing camouflage nets for the army. This was taken in 1943. Workpeople from J.H. Birtwhistle's mill raised money for the war effort by holding a village wedding on June the 15th, 1944. War brought many changes and occasionally excitement. In January 1943, a British restaurant was opened in St. Peter's Church School by the Mayor, Alderman A.S. Watson. Here we see with the Mayoress and W. Boyson. The Home Guard of Haslingden. Haslingden Salute Target. Haslingden's Wings Week Achievement. The evacuees for Haslingden were billeted for the night at the rest centres, at the Congregational School and Wesley School. This was on Blackburn Road. Haslingden's children celebrated victory by burning Hitler. Haslingden's outstanding war effort was recognised by a visit on Thursday, March the 8th, 1945, by King George VI and Queen Elizabeth. The King is shaking hands with Alderman Jerry Lord. 18th of August 1945. A Thanksgiving service in Manchester Road Chapel. The winter of 1962 to 63 was one of the coldest on record. From December the 23rd until February the 8th, the temperature rarely rose above freezing point. The blizzard on Sunday, January the 20th, was as severe as anyone could remember. What you see is taken at Road End, where the bus from Rottenstall became stuck in a snowdrift. The snowfall of Saturday, January the 27th, and the following 2 days was the largest experienced in Haslingden. There was an average fall of 2.5 feet and drifts of up to 10 feet. On Sunday, a train from Accrington became embedded in a drift at Stone Fold. The line was closed for almost 6 days